Hi, it's Friday, June 21st, 2019, and this is the Pro and Con Show. I am your host, Michael James Ott. Thank God it's Friday. TGIF, everybody out there. Hope you are all looking forward to a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope that it causes you to think a little bit about things and how they're presented to you. The intent of the show is I'm trying to encourage all of us to be more involved in our government, to be better citizens, and especially by seeking out the truth. So looking for the who, the what, the where, the when, and trying to figure out the best way possible as individuals how we can strip out some of the bias that's in our lives. And so hence the Pro and Con Show. Encouraging everyone to understand the issues and be open to at least understanding the other side's views, the pro, the con, the good, the bad, the for, and against. And most convenient for me to look at some websites, so looking at Breitbart on the right, Fox News, also somewhat biased to the Republican and conservative view. NPR, mostly unbiased, kind of. And then CNN, more left-leaning, and Huffington Post being like the furthest left. And so let's start with a couple of things here. So let's start with Breitbart tonight. I want to show you this picture, okay? So President Trump says people have forgotten that Elizabeth Warren is a fraud. Now, the reason why he's starting to attack her is that her poll numbers are coming up fairly quickly, from what I understand. And so as you know, and Breitbart is this conservative right-leaning thing. So do you think that's a fairly a reasonable picture of Elizabeth Warren? No. But that's what Breitbart would do. They would present a picture of Elizabeth Warren in a pose that's less than positive, and then, or becoming, and then use somebody else, in this case Mr. Trump's words, which he's quite happy to sling insults and nicknames and that kind of thing. But the other thing that I wanted to really talk about here on the Breitbart website is they had this, there's this, and I'm going to actually increase the size of it so you can see this. It's this headline that says, "Erasing America, Offensive George Washington Mural to be Removed from George Washington High School." Okay, so I read this article earlier, and I went to it, and now they've changed the website. It doesn't even go to the right article, but thankfully they still have a link to it, or at least they did just moments ago. Oh God, they've taken that down too, have they? By God, they've done that. They've taken that away. Let me see if I can find it elsewhere. Here we go. I did find it. They have it. It's rapidly moving. As sometimes happens on Breitbart, they have this article that's of suspect journalism. I call it jingo journalism. And it's there. And then, presumably they allow whatever, hundreds of thousands or millions of their readers to view it, and then it suddenly, disappears. So here's the issue that I have. So this is from Breitbart. Look at this headline: George Washington High School to erase offensive George Washington mural. Well, look at that picture. I want you to look at that picture. Now, the intent here is really bad, horrific journalism, because they put that picture there, and the average person is going to read that headline, because a lot of us, unfortunately, don't take a lot of time, which I, again, am encouraging you to do. I'm begging you, in fact, to take some extra time. And they see that picture and they say, well, that's the mural they're talking about. There's George Washington standing by a cannon, and there's one of his lieutenants holding his horse. What is offensive about that? Well, that's not the mural. Okay, the mural is buried in the report, but they do actually offer a hyperlink. So out in San Francisco, there's the George Washington High School. It's out in San Francisco, and there's this mural, and I'm going to increase the size of it so you can see it. So they have basically this atrium that people come in through, and there's a statue of Washington at George Washington, High, so you would think that. And then there's this mural that's been up there, according to the article, for 80 years. And here's the thing about it is there are, areas of this mural that are very, very offensive. And so it's perfectly understandable that people would be, let me see if I can, oops. So now I have to get to a certain place, and unfortunately there's an ad, so we'll have to wait for that. But, so remember, that picture that they showed you had nothing to do with the actual mural. So this is the report that eventually you can dig to if you dig deep enough into this article.
Speakers from both sides were passionate. This mural inside the main entrance of Washington High School in San Francisco has been here for more than 8 decades. It depicts the life of George Washington, but some are offended by the images of black slaves at Washington's Mount Vernon home.
It is a racist mural. My history should not be racist, but it is. I came from slaves.
On Tuesday night, a school board meeting to gather public opinion.
Okay. So now, armed with all the facts here, okay, we now see that there are elements of this mural that you would have, based on the first impressions of this article that Breitbart was putting out there, you would have said there's nothing wrong with this picture of George Washington. Well, now there's slaves and stuff in this mural, and of course some people find this very offensive, and of course the whole thing about slavery, and so now you get, which is of course offensive, but now there's the debate over whether it's history or not, or whether it should be covered over because it depicts this the slavery and is offensive. And I'm not going to offer a definitive answer on this, but the main point that I want to make is that Breitbart is doing a horrific disservice to you, and you are doing a horrific disservice to yourself to just look at that original article that they posted and to see the picture that they associate with it. You're going to get the wrong impression from that. You're going to go, what? They're going to take down this perfectly good picture of Washington. Well, that's not the picture they were talking about, but they're misleading you. They're misleading you. So don't let them do that, okay? Don't let them do that. So now we go through, there's some other things in here I just quickly wanted to point out. So there's a couple other things that have gone on here, and just going to mention this. So again, going to the left-hand leaning thing. So this is, as we go through these websites and you look at the different ones and whether they even cover a story or not, or whether it's like a major news item for them or buried somewhere deep in their website. So the Huffington Post has this on its major. Okay, so Huffington Post is one of the most liberal, left-leaning websites. And it's true that this woman, she is claiming that 23 years ago, Donald Trump, she's an advice columnist, and her name is E. Jean Carroll, and she said back in the 1990s, so 23 years ago, she was in a store with Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump said something about, could you help me, try to select some lingerie or something. They ended up going back into a dressing room, and then she claims that he lunged at her and attacked her and so on, and eventually inserted his penis into her, and she fought her way out and unfortunately never reported it. And she says, well, I didn't because so many people aren't believed and all this. And so the whole Me Too thing that's going on, people, women need to be more believed on these attacks. Unfortunately, decades ago they weren't, and still today this is a serious issue. But regardless, so the point is that the Huffington Post is making this a major news item. But then I go to CNN, and I've looked through their website, and I can't even find this on their website. So I think it would probably be down in politics, and I don't see it there at all, which is kind of amazing. So then I go to Fox News. So remember, Huffington Post says rape, right? And Fox News does not have this anywhere toward the top of their website. But if we go down far enough, I think there's a politics section down here. And then, so here it is. It says, longtime advice columnist E. Jean Carroll accuses Trump of sexual assault in the 1990s. So at least there's another stream of information where someone is actually reporting the same sort of thing, but you notice the differences in the way it's being reported depending on the stream of information that you're looking at. And this is the whole point. The reason why I do these shows night in and night out is because if we're going to do good jobs as citizens and making sure we understand what's going on, we're going to have to spend more time appreciating the truth, the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against, and understanding that many of the streams of information that come to us, the individual streams, are going to be biased, and we're going to have to force ourselves, even if we don't like, even if we kind of enjoy or think a certain way, and so this stream of information kind of generally follows our general thinking, we're going to do ourselves and our neighbors and our friends and everyone around the world a serious disservice if we don't at least open our minds to at least looking for the opposing views, the opposing facts, and remember, at all times we've got to focus on the who, the what, the where, and the when, and then a lot of this other stuff is all commentary, prognostication, analysis, all that. It's just opportunities for talking heads to tell us what they think. Well, who, what, where, when, form your own opinions. Okay. And let's see here. And then I talked about the George Washington article already. George Washington High School. Trying to think if there was one other thing that I wanted to bring out today. I don't think there is. No, it's not. Nothing's coming to me at the moment. But so you see, again, just to quickly summarize, you and I, we have a duty to ourselves. We have a duty to each other our friends, our families, our relatives, our neighbors, the rest of the people around the country. We've got to get involved at least incrementally more. This thing of like vote and elect and forget and just let them do whatever, that's like handing someone a checkbook and saying, here's my checkbook, I'll check with you in 4 years. Nah, that's not, we've got to be involved. We've got to be involved. We've got to take the extra time. And I'm not talking about, 40, 50, 100 hours a week. I'm talking about just an hour a week or something like this to look at some of these headlines, and when you see something, say, this is bothering to me, I'm going to take the time to try to understand if there's a significant opposing view, or even if this is some kind of made up article or whatever that doesn't, and then so you compare the different information streams, and try to make sure that you're really looking at the truth, as opposed to someone's very myopic, singular view. Okay, and remember, the news is really just the who, the what, the where, and the when. And unfortunately for us, and hopefully we'll get beyond this, but at the moment there's all these so-called networks, all these streams of information, and they're 24 hours. The actual news part of it, the who, the what, the where, and the when, occupies 30 minutes, an hour at most. 30 minutes. Remember old Walter Cronkite on CBS or whatever? 30 minutes, and that was the news. And the rest of it now is all filled with commentary. And why? Because that's easily generated. They can have some, people sit there in a panel and say, well, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think about that? Well, what do you think about this? Well, that's nice. That's entertaining. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to entertain you. They're trying to get you to watch and be entertained. But news is not entertaining. News is news. News is news. So, anyway, we're running out of time for today, so this is Michael James Ott. This is the Pro and Con Show. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great, great, great Friday evening, wherever you are around the world. And, bye for now.